Question 2 says, describe the chords marked X and Y in the extract below as chord 1, 2, 4 or 5 in relation to the tonic key of A minor. Also indicate whether the chord is in root position, first inversion or second inversion. So this is a question all about harmony. It's asking us to look at this extract of Chopin, a piece for the piano, and work out what harmony is being used at various points in the music, at 2 points in the music. Here, this chord X and this chord Y. So this should hopefully be okay. What we need to do probably first is just to work out what key we're in and what those chords indicated up here would be. So if we're looking for certain chords, this will help us know what we're looking for. So it's told us already that the tonic key is A minor, and looking at the key signature, there's no key signature, which suggests that A minor is a good suggestion. Also, the first bar has A minor chords in it. These are A minor triads here. And so it's not surprising that we're going to be working in the key of A minor here. And so we probably just need to have a quick think about what chords are going to be used. Obviously, the tonic chord, chord 1, is going to be A minor. So we could have... I normally use small lowercase Roman numerals for minor chords and uppercase Roman numerals for major chords. So this is going to be a minor chord, obviously. We're in the minor key. And so chord 1 is going to be A minor. So if we see A minor anywhere, we know that we're dealing with chord 1. Chord 2 will also be... Oops. With that, it's actually probably going to be B minor or B diminished, depending on how that chord is working in the music. Chord 4 is also going to be minor, and that's going to be D minor. So if we see D minor anywhere, we're dealing with chord 4, and if we see E major, if we see E major, that's going to be chord 5. So that hopefully will just set the scene for what we're looking for here in this extract. And when we see these chords, we'll be able to first work out what number chord, what position in the scale these chords take, and then we'll also be able to look at the chord specifically to see whether it's in root position, first inversion and second inversion. And all that's really saying is what ingredient of the chord is in the bass. If it has the tonic of the chord in the bass, that's going to be a root position chord. If it's got the third of the chord in the bass, that's going to be a first inversion chord. And if it's got the fifth of the chord in the bass, that's going to be a second inversion chord. So let's get going. It shouldn't be too difficult now. We've done this kind of preparatory work. So here's our first chord, and we need to work out what we have here in this chord. So these notes are, from the bottom up, A, D, F, and there's an F up there in the piano's right hand as well. And so if we add these notes together, let's write them here. So we've got a D, we've got an E, and we've got oh, no we haven't, sorry. We've got a D, we've got an F and an A. And those chords, those notes added together, make the chord of D minor. There's no complexity here at all. This is just a chord of D minor, and looking up what we wrote here, this is going to be chord 4. So very straightforwardly, we can just write in Roman numerals of chord 4 and say that this is chord 4. Now there's one more bit of work we need to do. We need to work out what the inversion of this chord is, and that's really straightforward because we're just going to have to look at the lowest note in the chord, and that's going to be this one here, this A. And so that's telling us that the fifth of the chord is in the bass, and when the fifth chord is in the bass, we know we're dealing with a second inversion. And the way we notate a second inversion is just to write a small C next to our chord symbol, and that will complete this first chord. I think that's a chord of 4C. Chord Y, even more straightforward, I think, because we've seen this chord very often. It's a simple triad, an A, a C and an E, and those notes, when combined together, of course, give us a chord of A minor, which in this case is the music's tonic chord. This piece is in A minor, so we can just write chord 1. And in terms of the inversion, well, the A is in the bass, the tonic is in the bass, which means that this chord is in root position. And so all we need to do really to indicate it's in root position is just write the Roman numeral, because the kind of default understanding we have when we see chord symbols is that they're going to be in root position unless we have something after it, like here we have the C to indicate second inversion. But just so I'm being really clear, I'm going to write A in a bracket just to prove to anyone that was looking that I know that this is a root position chord, but I know I don't need to put the A in, but I'm going to put the A in just to make it really clear that I know this is a root position chord. And that should complete the first part of this question. Very straightforward, just looking at harmonies. The second part is just looking at this bar here. So it's this next bar, and it's asking us about these two notes here. And it's saying, give the name of the ornament used in the fourth bar. Now these two notes, they're very small, so they're not rhythmic notes. They don't count towards the amount of time used up in the bar, but they are important, and what they help us to do is just decorate melodies slightly. So ornaments are often used, particularly in classical music, to make a melody a little bit more interesting. There's no trick to these really, you just have to go and learn what they're called. And these little ones, because they have the line here going through them, it's quite difficult to see, but there is a line just sort of crossing through the top of the notes there. And that means that these notes are to be crushed in before the main note. So there's the E here, and this should come on the first beat of the bar, but actually the music is telling us just to sneak in another E and an F as quickly as possible before we get to them. It's just a little sort of twiddle, basically. And the name for this kind of ornament is an acciaccatura, which is quite a pain to spell. The way I remember it is it has to have 4 C's. It has 4 C's and 4 A's and then some other things. It's a bit like Mississippi. It's got loads and loads of different pairs of letters and things. So acciaccatura, and that just means the notes are crushed in before the big note, and that helps us add a little interest, a little sparkle to that melody. And that, I think, brings us to the end of question 2. So I will see you in the next one for question 3.